The boy is back. Okay, listen. I know. My bad. It's only been 3 weeks. I know I privated a lot of the past videos for good reasons. Really good reasons. Hopefully, I can come back to you guys with good news. But let's just say we don't want PR looking at someone's controversial, not controversial, but very open, right? I said nothing wrong. So I just privated them because they're not really, they're very, I wouldn't say dogmatic, it's just not practical. So it's been 3 weeks, but I will make those videos public soon. But how's it been, guys? I know we've missed out on a lot. Well, you might have. I haven't. I've actually been studying the market every single day. I get it. Let him cook. I know. What the fuck am I wearing? I forgot all my glasses in Austin. I just got back to my lovely Cream City, aka Burnham, Texas. Hopefully I can see them boys at a Pearland tomorrow in Houston. But it's a lovely day. We have a lot to talk about. I actually have a list in my head because I forgot to write it down. But I think I can hit about everything in this video. So if I forget about something, comment or just reach out to me. You guys know I'm very open. Don't open positions without my consent. Well, do whatever the fuck you want to do, but don't open something for the sake of my behalf and you don't even consult with me. But yeah, so I left my glasses in Austin, and I usually go into my roommate, shout out Trey, his room and grab his glasses, but I forgot everything in Austin. So I guess my snowboarding glasses or goggles would do. Ignore it. All right. If anything, it makes me look kind of like some Lady Gaga shit. But yeah, I mean, guys, yeah, shout out Trey. I be sleeping in that boy's room. I bring in homeless people. I feel bad, so sometimes I just let them go in Trey's room, just chill, have a drink out of his shit, use his restroom. Use his. That's why Trey is real. He lets me do whatever in his room. I use his room a lot, but nice guy. All right, this video will not be broken into the traditional what happened, topic of the day, and fun. No. It is, but the middle part is just yap. What in particular? We're going to be talking about hardware, distribution modes, CapEx, and obviously the star. Yes, I know. Kimi. If you guys don't know what Kimi is, it's a Chinese open source model that was just released. We'll get into that. And Frontier versus open source. Oracle, new positions have opened up at Styler. Our hedge fund has opened up a lot of new positions, a lot of new shorts. And I'm really excited to break it all to you guys. So let's start with this week. What happened this week? Banks had earnings. And really understanding banking earnings is in itself a skill. We won't get into the nitty-gritty, but they did really well, just like any other bank. And, they're making money. These IPOs, you think these guys are IPOing SpaceX for giving out the most ridiculous price targets for them not to get the back end services and fees? Of course, that's the whole point. So banks did well, which is good. Banks set the tone for earnings season, and that's what we need. Banks do what they do, and anything beyond, really, banks earnings should be boring. But obviously, with the state of the market, everything's exciting. But whatever, as long as banks do what they have to do, that's all that matters. Goldman Sachs, I think, had the best one. JP Morgan second, and the rest, whatever, losers. But two other earnings I want to talk about, Netflix and IBM. Okay, this week, IBM, I wouldn't say shit the bed, but they pre-announced their earnings, which is typically a red flag. And why? Well, for one, I remember looking at IBM and saying, wow, why is this $300? Because I'm going to be honest, IBM is a glorified consulting company with a hint of technology, in my opinion. I know that sounds ignorant. Sounds like I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I think that's what the market is really pricing in. These guys were heavily priced in for absolutely no reason. They didn't fall with the ServiceNows or the Oracles or the Microsoft. For some reason, they were in this weird, I don't even know. They slept through the cracks, and now they're just now coming to the show of going down with ServiceNow and all these other guys, except they did it in one day. Now, 3 things. Glorified consulting that finally got priced at the valuation that which they deserve. Second, they blamed it on hardware and cybersecurity expenditures from the other companies or their customers Third off, I just think this is not resembling the entire SaaS sector. And what do I mean by that? Well, does that mean ServiceNow and Salesforce and all these other guys that are about to report, are they about to experience the same thing? No. Look at the fucking stock for once. These guys already killed. Could they go lower? Of course. Well, there's no crying at the casino, first off. But what I'm saying is, I think IBM just, I think they're just a bad apple. Not out of the bunch. The bunch was already bad, and here comes IBM. That was for some reason not bad. They were already bad. I don't know why people are acting like they were good. Second off, cybersecurity and hardware expenditures. I can see the cybersecurity thing, which is another thing we'll be talking about in the next thing, in the second half of this video. But the hardware expenditure excuse is kind of lousy and lazy. I don't believe that. I don't believe everyone is buying a premium on SanDisk or Micron memories along with the data centers from Nebius, CoreWeave, or Dell. I think at most, the most things that has, out of those two excuses, the one that has the most substance and in the court of law would definitely be cybersecurity expenditures, which again is a whole thing in itself. And third off, on the Compound and Friends, they mentioned it. Yeah, this is kind of like a lawsuit because for one, how do you shit the bed that bad and pre-announce earnings that are that bad? Someone was lying. Someone was over-glorified, like I said, and pay the price. Netflix, I think they just had a lousy earnings. Or here's the thing about earnings. There's the qualitative aspect to it, which we tend to talk about, which is more the fun part. You guys don't want to talk about the quantitative, the more numbers and boring part. In terms of quantitatively speaking, Netflix had a decent earnings. Cool, whatever, normal. But the issue is when you look at the qualitative aspects and angles of attack on Netflix, there's so many. Well, for one, there's an abundance of entertainment. And a lot of other guys that's like their main point, right? Sure, neglect that for a minute. My point is, guys, there's a thing called YouTube. The competition. Just the competition, which obviously is a kind of a derivative of abundance of entertainment, but that's not the point. The point is, I don't see how Netflix is trading at anywhere near at some of the valuation. I think it's trading at a PE of Meta. What the fuck are we talking about here? Like, are we serious? No. At best, bro. Like, oh God, like that. Like again, so these earnings, in my opinion, and God save me, have been from mediocre companies with mediocre outputs. It does not reflect the Nvidias, the Microns, and whoever else. I feel like that has to be addressed because people are saying, besides the banks, no one has ROI on AI. No one's caring about anything. These earnings are mediocre. Therefore, the bull run cannot happen because no. And in my opinion, I don't think there are a resemblance. I don't think Netflix is a resemblance of the whole entertainment sector, and I don't think IBM is a whole resemblance of the consulting or the SaaS names or hardware. I know they do hardware, but guys, it's IBM. Like, I don't even know why they were priced so richly. So, other than that, this week, besides today, because of Kimmy, again, open source, the market took a shit. I think I went down 4%. So, I actually did pretty bad this week. That's okay. We'll get to the price targets in a minute because, guys, I feel vindicated. We'll pull up the prices in a minute. But before we go into that, Meta. Meta in the past 3 weeks that I've been gone has did exactly what I told you guys Meta would do. And that is execute. Why? Well, for one, Mark Zuckerberg is a dog. He spends a lot of money on dogs, such as Scale and the team that comes with Scale, and they know what they're doing. It kind of ties into what Meta is doing with the CapEx and data centers and leasing out the compute to, again, they popped up today because there was a rumor that they're going to lease out compute to Anthropic. That's a huge deal. Well, why is Meta trying to own the stack, the whole entire stack? Because Meta understands that they lost a lot of money through being they just lost a lot of money with Apple. It's very simple. I mean, I could fancy it all I want, but guys, like, and hence why I'm dancing all over the place because this is very exciting. But Meta wants to own their own compute. They want to be able to lease the compute. They want to be able to do whatever they want from that aspect. And I actually think their hardware, contrary to a lot of people and Amit and some of these other guys, I think the glasses thing is a home run. I really do. I think the glasses thing, if done right, could be one of the biggest hardware forms of AI distribution, because one of the most important things that we'll talk about in the second half of this video is AI distribution. Who owns the distribution? Yes, Anthropic, Chat, and all these, Kimi, for example, even today, these guys own the LLMs. How do you get access to these? And that sounds like a stupid question to ask, but that's the question to ask. Well, this is an iPhone. This is a MacBook. You're probably watching this on a MacBook, or God forbid, Trey's fucking 2009 Dell that his dad got from like a fucking corporate office at like Wall Street during the financial crisis, 2008. But yes, that's the number one thing we're getting to with AI right now. It's, yes, I understand the hardware and the bottleneck and supply chain bullshit. Right now is distribution. And hence why, guess who hit all-time highs today? Apple. So Meta went from 560 to what I told you. I told you guys, buy. Why? Because Meta, first off, is undervalued in terms of a future PE and their earnings projections, and overall as a company as a whole. Like, these guys are undervalued for the fact that, am I saying they're a home run? Yeah, but I'm not saying that like they're the dogs. What I'm saying is, don't leave these guys hanging. And with the release of Muse, these guys are on it. They're doing exactly what Mark did, the opposite of Metaverse, and they're on it, and that's exactly what you need to see. Now let's pull up prices, because you guys are always like, oh my god, Ivan, like, dude. We will disclose new positions in a minute, but yes, okay. So as you can see, first off, 643. That's amazing. That's what you guys are. That's what you guys are buying. You guys, that's what I was telling you. It's not that Meta is such a great deal at 560. It's the fact that if there's a company, the opportunity cost of not investing in Meta is far greater than it is. You have to, like, what else were you going to put your money in? And there's Microsoft. I advise some of Styler's clients to get in on Microsoft at 385. And as far as it looks like, even on today, and mind you, today was because of Kimi and open source and the whole fucking can of worms that was open through that shit. It's still, my client's making money. Amazon, I told you guys, that's another thing. That's a short thesis that we will be disclosing on Costco. We'll get into that. There's a cute, I bought ASTS at 55. Guys, Rocket Lab is not a buy in my opinion. I'm buying them at 55. The market's on sale. Not really. We're at all-time highs. S&P is doing great. I get that. My point is, it's not that the market is on sale. It's that the opportunities are there. So embrace them, guys. Like, I told you guys, about Meta at 590, 580, 560. Well, I mean, look today, now, even at ServiceNow at like 80, you could have bought ServiceNow at 80, 90, 100 even. I mean, my point is, there's an inflection that happens with every company, and the fact that to think that companies are just thrown to the side is not true. And Hood, yeah, a lot of names got killed, and Hood has nothing really to do with Kimi, but Oracle. So before we get into the second half, nothing really happened this week. Nothing has really changed from the 3 weeks I was gone, other than the fact that there are good companies for sale. With that being said, before we move on, I would disclose 5 new things Styler are proposing. First off, let's get 3 names. I said 3. 4. Okay. First off, Styler bought Microsoft. Styler is my fund, by the way. I co-founded a fund. Seriously. Okay. My homeboy and I and our partners and our clients are buyers of Microsoft below 400. This is not financial advice, by the way. Please consult with your own financial advisor or myself before you do anything. As of now, this is all gibberish. Okay? Microsoft, ASTS, you can't see it, but the cybersecurity names have been killing it. Ondas, just drone infrastructure, and I have another one, but I'll reserve it. I have like 4 other ones, but we'll reserve those for another time. But those 3, Microsoft, ASTS, and I forgot even who the fuck I just said. But just rewatch the video, guys. Like, the market's on sale. Enjoy it. Again, consult with me before you do anything or don't. I don't really care. This is not financial advice. For all you know, I'm just a clown. Zeta is a great one. Zeta under 25 is a great one. And our short thesis is for Oracle. Oh, we're buyers of Oracle. My bad. We're Oracle, yeah. Guys, I'm so fucking excited. Like, I'm just jumping around. But yeah, we're buyers of Oracle. Buyers of Oracle underneath 140. I've done this before, 150 to like 280 or 3 something. Is that going to happen again? Of course not, because guess what? That's not how the market works. I'm just saying. But, and also because Oracle's a great company. We're not here to do, I hate, like, that's stuff you should text me about. It's individual stocks and analysis of stocks. I'm just giving you some suggestions and overall overview of the market. That's the whole point of these videos. It's not for me, Amazon and like, what the fuck? I look like a geek? Like, do you look like a geek? No. Okay, we're here to make money. All right. I am proposing a short thesis on Costco. Why is this not working? Pause. All right. Short thesis on Costco. There's only going to be one member. It's not, fuck your Costco card. Okay? Second off, there's only going to be one membership in the year 2027 to 2028 that's going to matter, and it is the Amazon Prime. This is a short Costco and bullish thesis on Amazon. I was fortunate enough today to go to Whole Foods headquarters out there in Austin, the regional whatever headquarters, whatever. And I was talking to the managers and directors, and guys, like, yeah, Costco is, in my opinion, cooked. H-E-B is great. Fuck all that. It's Amazon. In 2028, you're going to probably be able to buy an Amazon Prime membership for $80 a month. That consists of their satellite venture that they're getting into to compete with SpaceX, their new project in Real Chicago that's going to basically be a direct competitor to Costco, except they're going to have way better products, way better reach, and just larger scalability with the logistics. So those are two things that people already pay a premium for. Amazon Prime, the delivery service itself, and then the entertainment. This will be, in 2028, Amazon right now, today, is a $300 stock. Today. Is it? No. Let me check something. Yeah. My eyes don't deceive me. Amazon's at $247. I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is, in 2028, when people are like, oh, Amazon is so revolutionary, innovative. Like, they bundled a deal for the average American citizen that consists of the 4 biggest fucking, like, consumption verticals in the GDP. Oh, connectivity to the internet, connectivity to consumption of groceries, entertainment, and just, I mean, like, delivery, like, logistics, like, and I promise you, people are going to be wishing they sold their Costco. Costco's a great stock. But at almost $500 billion, I'm not a buyer. I never was a buyer. I don't believe in Costco as a company. And especially with Amazon stepping on their toes, I don't believe them as a company in the next 3 years. Now, shorting companies is something that takes art. Shorting is not like, I'm going to go for a walk in the park. Shorting is extremely hard. I proposed shorts on Lululemon, and I believe I proposed a short thesis on, God, it was like my freshman year of college. Why am I forgetting this? Yes. Anyway, and it took time. Like, Lululemon, the short report I wrote, it was trading at like 280 or something, 320 or some shit. And I mean, it took 4 months before it even took a 10% dip. And obviously now Lululemon's, I mean, why don't we check the film ourselves? I mean, yeah. Was it a successful thesis? Yes, the thesis was right. But guys, being early is wrong. I hate when people say that. And obviously, then your whole thing about Costco being irrelevant compared to Amazon is wrong too. Well, I'm proposing. You know, that's what we do as Styler. We propose ideas and stocks for when you are bored or for when you are thinking of deploying capital into the financial markets. You go, oh wait, that guy out of Burnham, Texas, smart, handsome Mexican. Yeah, I think I'm going to short Costco. And maybe next year it starts to decline. But Costco's a short. I'm not owning this thing. It's great. But they're not doing what Amazon is doing. And Amazon is slowly but gradually becoming the greatest American company ever. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, this is the best American stock you can own. Okay. Time to get to the fiasco of things. Kimi. What is Kimi? It's an open source model from China. Okay. As we have talked about, frontier and open source models, it's like do we have free will debate? That's what this is equivalent to. If someone had to ask you what is open source in the frontier, like what does that really even mean? It's does free will exist? That's what we're talking about here. Why is this important? Why is Kimi important? Kimi crashed the markets for a little today. Crash, guys. I exaggerate things for the sake of entertainment. They didn't really crash, but they're questioning the thesis of the hardware expenditures and overall frontier models. Okay, Kimi was founded by a guy who got his PhD at Carnegie Mellon, from which he went back to China and went to a prestigious university before I think he came to Carnegie Mellon. He then founded a venture. He founded a venture and was provided capital, I think, by Baba and Tencent, which are the equivalent of Amazon and fucking Amazon and Meta, right? Sponsoring this guy who's smart. Okay, so with MOEs and some other LLM architecture ideas, he was able to develop what is today Kimi, and it's amazing. It literally feeds into this debate of frontier or open source models. So, what is a frontier model? Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini, XAI. Yeah. A frontier model typically is denoted by the fact that you can't change the weights and become your own architecture in the building. Is the point of a frontier model. So these guys make a premium. They charge you a premium, not necessarily a premium, but they charge you the service of their LLM because guess what? They handle all that. You get your product, and in return, you don't really have to deal with all that. Open source models, in my opinion, I'm going straight to the debate. Fuck the explanation. In my opinion, open source models are best for enterprises because enterprises can get down this loop of token spending, which is a very important thing you guys need to read up on. Is first off, Michael Burry. Buy his Substack for $40. It's arguably one of the coolest things I bought this year, and I've enjoyed reading every single article. Second off, go back and listen to Chamath on CNBC and Alex Karp on CNBC. These guys are representatives of enterprises and LLMs, and they're basically explaining it. Alex Karp went on CNBC and basically said that these frontier models, such as Anthropic, are parasites to enterprise. Why? You give away your IP, intellectual property, and you give away your data, your moats, and everything in exchange for a LLM that doesn't really provide any value other than some sort of like glorified consulting. Does that mean LLMs and frontier models are useless? Of course not. And that's why, in my opinion, chat is actually ahead of Anthropic. Anthropic, I think, is going the completely wrong way. I try Anthropic. Guys, these guys are taxing. And I don't even want to imagine what it is at the enterprise level. You know, Uber CEO, Microsoft, all these guys are basically saying, get the fuck off of this shit because this is horrible. And as a CFO, I would do the same thing. And that's the debate. Frontier, open source. Frontier can be expensive, great for consumers. Open source could be cheap, security risk, but great for enterprises and great for individuals who know what they're doing, right? A tri-delt from UT is not going to go on fucking Kimi. That's what I'm telling you. She's not going to go on Kimi when she's doing her little consulting project, okay? That's like due for like the next day. She's going on chat, okay? She's not even going on Anthropic. Like, I don't be like, oh, Kimi has 1.8 trillion per annum. Bro, I care. But do you think the broader, you know what the number one factor of GDP is? It's like the first thing you learn in economics. It's consumption. And obviously the payment of interest on our debt. But guys, that's the whole fiasco. Is Kimi is basically still questioning the fact is, why do we spend so much money on these frontier models and other LLM models here in the United States when China is doing these open source models for cheaper? And I mean, quite frankly, they're on par. The benchmarks are on par. That's the issue. It'd be different if they were cheap and ass. But Chamath is a huge advocate of this. Again, you need to go and watch CNBC, All In, Immense live streams, Steven, and all these other guys' thing. Okay. Chamath is even willing to put his neck out that if these models were 60% efficient, less efficient than what was available with the frontier models, enterprises would still do the open source. Why? Because it's cheaper. It's cheaper. What does it matter if you got if 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, and I got the answer playing through a calculator, or I bought an iPhone at the fucking local Apple store? Well, I mean, for God's sakes, I think the calculator was better. So why is my fucking screen? But you get the point. And so Chamath, Karp, and all these guys, and mind you, Karp is the CEO and founder of Palantir. If you don't know what Palantir is, they're an API, and they make money no matter who wins this AI race. Why? Because what they do is you install them on your enterprise level, let's say, and they integrate almost every single piece of software or piece of litigation or whatever you want to do if you're a law firm, whatever, supply chain, and they are the API. They are think of it as the face. They're the muscle, right? They're okay with Anthropic and Chat being in the gym, but they're the muscle at the end. Okay, so take that with a grain of salt. But Chamath is also, well, take this with a grain of salt because he also does have a private company. I think it's called 8090, and I believe they actually do exactly, which is a great venture if you guys, any entrepreneurs out there. I think they do consulting at the lower enterprise or small to medium sized business, and they do local open source models for enterprises. What does this mean? Does this mean Oracle is fucked because like half of their RPO is obligated to OpenAI? Does that mean OpenAI and Anthropic are fucked? Like Gavin Baker has said on X, and all these other guys are today, oh, Kimmy, all these frontier models are cooked and this and that. Guys, I know I'm going to sound like fuck it. No. If anything, you guys are missing the whole point. Whether it's open source or it's the frontier models, that just means, okay, I know Jevons paradox. I know that's so like, yeah, the more efficient something becomes, the more usage it is, and therefore it become more capital deployed to make this thing more of use to everyone. So, right, so I know I just like really like abstracted the fuck out of Jevons paradox, but you get the point. But I'm gonna use it for the sake of this argument. Whether it's open source or frontier models, that just means that, first off, it validates the idea that AI is real. Mind you, that sounds stupid to say today, but 2 years ago when I started my investing career like 3 years ago. But 2 years ago, mid of my investing career, that was a legitimate question. Is AI real? Guys, that's stupid as fuck. AI is very well indeed real. And frontier and open source model further proves that. We're past that question. We're past the fact is how efficient and how better can AI models be. And that just validates everything. If it's open source, guys, everyone's going to want to fine tune their things. And there still leaves knowledge arbitrage. If I see something for sale for $10 and I see someone willing to buy it for $20, make a profit $10. It's the same thing. If I see all enterprises are going on local and open source models and I have opportunity to collab or just do some sort of partnership with one of these frontier models, why would I not do that arbitrage of knowledge? Yes, you're saving money, but I'm also working with some of the best frontier models. That's the whole point of being a frontier model. Why would OpenAI and Anthropic keep their models open? That's just stupid as fuck. First off, it's a security reason. Second off, people can reverse engineer, which is a very underrated argument as to why they cannot do that. Third off, it's easy. Again, the Tridelt from UT is not asking for the Kimi model. It just makes no sense. And if she was asking for the Kimi model, she has to run some sort of hardware to do it. All of these frontier open source goes to the next thing in this video. Distribution. I will bring them up because they're very important. We're going to make them the whole fucking screen. Apple was criticized for being one of the few hyperscalers or Mag 7 names that did not participate in this AI. They're behind. There's no innovation, this and that. I had to listen to a classroom of people tell me that Apple is not innovative anymore. And forgive them. They just don't know. They just don't know. Do you see what this says? They don't know. They don't know. I don't know who they are or what they're doing with their lives, but there's, with all due respect, they're not stupid, but the substance of saying Apple is not innovative is stupid. Flat out stupid. Apple is I said it. I raised my hand in front of all 30 of them. I said, yeah, Apple is at all-time highs. What are you guys talking about? If they're not innovative, then 90% of Wall Street is wrong. You know why Apple's at all-time highs? Because they owned one of them, probably the most important thing about AI, distribution. The Compound and Friends is a podcast, and they have a wonderful thesis on why Apple will reach 400, and is probably the most important AI name. I highly encourage you guys to listen to that episode, because that thesis on Apple, that was perfecto. That was beautiful. I hate Apple. I'm very bearish Apple. But that thesis that Josh Brown proposed was just chef's kiss. Guys, when Apple releases the folding iPhone with capabilities of running an LLM of your choice, do you think they're going to let that happen for free? Do you think Apple? No. They're going to charge these LLM companies prices to run on their hardware the same way, and that's why Meta is building their own shit, because they're tired of it. So that's my whole point. Apple is gonna very well indeed, they're not gonna build their own LLM. Why would they? Because they own the most important part. They're gonna tax the shit out of these frontier models. They're gonna tax the shit out of Google. They're gonna tax the shit out of everybody, because they own the most important part of it, the distribution side. And that's a great thesis. Like, why do you think the Mac Mini sold out? For the open source and local models. That's a prime example that no matter what the fuck happens, it's all a win. And I know that sounds like all stocks go up. That's not true. That's actually not fucking true. But like this year for like this, yeah, that's not true. But it further proves my point that, bro, open source or frontier, you have to still find arbitrage. Apple found it, and that is, hey, you motherfuckers still have to go through us. Period. Do you think Siri is gonna be done by Apple? No. Why the fuck would they? They're gonna charge the shit out of OpenAI or Anthropic. Like, hey, motherfucker, 10% of every time someone downloads your shit, uses your shit on our hardware. Boom. Obviously, that's a very abstract way of how contracts work, but that's exactly why they're suing OpenAI. This is a huge development. Apple is suing OpenAI for essentially industrial espionage. So if you guys don't know, Apple is suing OpenAI because OpenAI is said to have basically poached scientists, AI scientists, and overall software, hardware, and encouraged cheating and encouraged scandals and everything, and for the sake of gaining knowledge on hardware. Why is this important? Because OpenAI sees it already, guys. Meta already sees it. That's why they're trying to get with the fucking glasses. That's why OpenAI is trying to get into hardware, because they understand the moat. And Apple is, I mean, obviously with the lawsuit. First off, I heard a crazy theory from Steven, which is he's one of Amit's friends. And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, you don't need to know. These guys are just people I follow through the market. Bro, Steven proposed the idea that Apple might take OpenAI off their devices and overall store. If that happens, guys, so fucking that's not happening. And honestly, I had a comment on some Karen shit. I said, really admire your work, but you throwing the idea that Apple was gonna ban and get rid of OpenAI might be one of the worst and honestly distasteful thesis I've ever heard. Like, that's just not happening. If they do that, dog, I mean, first off, it's like I'm a shareholder oracle. No, but seriously, like, I just, that's not happening. And this lawsuit is very intriguing because first off, it shows, one thing I give OpenAI, the motherfuckers are hungry. Okay? If you're not cheating, you're not trying. No, that's not, I don't mean that literally. I'm just saying, like, the market is all about exploiting arbitrage and certain opportunities that other eyes can't see. So therefore, you should always act on that opportunity. Same with OpenAI, and Apple should always counter that with a lawsuit. So that's something to really watch out for. Very interesting. And these guys are all fighting for distribution, hardware. A lot of the, I think memory names took a break. I hate when people say they're crashing. No, they're taking a break. If what they're saying is true, they're taking a break. Obviously that's the obligations, the backlogs, and overall just memory is the chokehold apparently. And if that's true, obviously that's a big if. But if it is true, then yeah, these guys are just taking a break and expect these guys to hit all-time highs again. But what I'm saying is days like today when you go down 4% on the week, if I could, which I probably can, but I want to go to the bank and get $1 million loan. Because this is not over. Like, that's my whole point with this, guys. Is that open source or frontier model distribution through hardware, whether it's eyes or phones or tablets, is all part of the thesis that AI is very well indeed real. Enterprises want their own AI. That's a whole other thing for. This is my first video back, but guys, another thing before for the topic of this video is AI sovereignty. Chamath and all these guys like Alex Karp are throwing a shit ton of shit at the frontier models because why? Well, the idea that if you're an enterprise that uses Claude or OpenAI or one of these other LLM frontier models and you don't own the weights or overall the MOE architecture and all of that, then you don't have sovereignty, meaning that your IP is just given to them and in return they give you a service that is a glorified consulting assessment and overall doesn't really have that much ROI. Whatever that means, measurement of ROI on AI is something that's a whole video in itself because so I mean, this is all really super interesting. I see it all being bullish. This is kind of like DeepSeek Part 2, which I was fortunate to experience, I think Nvidia crashing on the day, but I think like 10%, which is huge, but the fact that Apple is trading at all-time highs for the sake of being able to own distribution through LLMs is why this is all amazing. And why Apple was at 200, or it was one of the worst stocks, quote unquote, and now it's one of the best stocks. And how Meta went from a piece of shit loser CEO and founder spending too much money on CapEx and is now trading at $100 higher. That's my whole point. Is this AI thing? The Compound and Friends had a podcast with one of the, I think, a macro investor from JP Morgan. I highly encourage you guys to watch that episode in particular. That is a great episode. And he said it best. This is fuck the fiber build out and the dot-com bubble. This is the shit. This is so cool. Like, this is so cool, interesting. You need to stay. This is why you guys follow me, because I'm fucking like this. I'm fucking in class. Fuck you, professor. I'm like this. I the past 3 weeks, I still got a lot of homework. I'm probably gonna post this video and do fucking homework while I'm doing it. Like, I got a lot of homework to do and a lot of work. But man, like I'm telling you, I'm listening, I'm reading, I'm doing research, I'm asking questions, and this is the time to be alive, boys. There's no time to fucking cry. Do you want the fucking money or not? United Healthcare reported earnings, by the way, this past week, which is related to the healthcare industry. And United Healthcare was one of the worst companies. You could have bought them at $240. Guess what they're trading at right now? How about instead of me telling you, we look. $425. $427. So that's my whole point. I've seen it all and I've seen it again and again. I love Michael Burry's Substack. But if you had listened to Michael Burry about Palantir and how they're fraudulent and they lie about deploying their FDEs and they categorize that as marketing instead of R&D and blah, blah, blah. And guys, you would have missed out. Not to say Michael Burry is a great guy. He's one of the greatest investors ever. But, there's an art to it. There is absolutely art to it. You listen to Ray Dalio and all these other, Warren Buffett, it's gambling and this and that. Yeah, you're right. But me listening to you would have lost me a lot of fucking money. And to say that you won't lose a lot of money still is not right. This is all chaotic. That's the whole point of staying on it, watching these videos, understanding where we're at with frontier and open source model. Because we're past AI being real. It is real. We're onto the fact that how do you distribute and own your own AI sovereignty while also getting an ROI on that and then scaling it to a bunch of enterprises or individuals. That's where we are at this. We're past that. Who benefits from this? Does biopharmaceutical companies need to understand the IP aspect of it? Do legal firms need to understand that? the legality of it. So we're past that. We're on the token per watt. We're on energy. We're on the Caterpillar hitting all-time highs because of their generators. We're to WaterBridge infrastructure returning almost 50% on the year. Why? Because they own one of the largest pure water plays in the Permian Basin. We're on it. We're on it. Like the fact that you guys, like, I've given you recommendations and we'll continue to give you guys recommendations, but please reach out to me. What have I been up to? I've been up to basically the shit I just told you. Studying, dude. Just studying. I was with my boy Ben, Samo, chilling. Might go see my boy Trey. He's just got some nice ass shit in downtown Houston, so should be lit. Might see a mentor up there in Houston. It's all lit, guys. It's all crazy. It's all good. I really just be chilling, studying, reading articles, reading my books. You know, like it's all about making an ROI. It's all about maximizing shareholder value. So, I mean, I'm sure I'm missing so many things, but I mean, we talked about the Apple and OpenAI lawsuit and why that's a huge issue. We talked about Kimi, open source and frontier models, and we talked about hyperscalers. We talked about Chamath, Alex Karp, and all these other guys, Gavin Baker, and all these other guys. Michael Burry. I'm making sure I'm not, like, guys, there's a lot, and I'm trying to hit you guys with the main, but I think we got to the steak and potatoes, as my boy, my people would say. Other than that, I think we're good. This was a great video, guys. Hopefully this is able to catch you up where we're at. So it's a matter of just remember the scaling thing with the SaaS names. SaaS is another thing, you know. People thought SaaS was dead, but not to say they're alive, but I think there's more integrity to the argument that SaaS names will be needed because of the database moats and overall efficiency. Because again, to extrapolate from the Trido at UT example, why would an enterprise go through the pain of sitting X amount of dollars aside to build their own fucking service now? I mean, like, yeah, you could, but like, the fuck? Like, that's like saying, hey, I'm gonna build my own car because it's cheaper. Like, hey, I hate when people say that. Like, you know what? I hate those guys who are like, we got this at home. Why would I pay? Bro, just say you're broke. Just say you're broke. You know? And that's the whole point of money. Anyway. Oh, yeah, PayPal. So, PayPal took a shit. They went to like $30. I was actually an investor at PayPal, 40 to 60, sold out, took that 20% return, whatever it was. And they went to the 30, and I think Stripe just put in an offer with a private equity firm for $60 a share, which is, I think, a couple, like 15% above what they're trading at. And Michael Burry had an interesting take, which is just too cheap. They're not selling that. It's probably going to bid up to, I heard, probably 90. I heard 90 is the price, but you could even see higher than that. And I think that's the best thing for shareholders. Chris Patel is a great guy to follow if you want to follow overall investing. He even mentioned it. He's like, he bought the dip at like 28 or 30, whatever the fuck. I don't keep track of PayPal. And yeah, I mean, dude just got the easiest arbitrage opportunity in the market. He has a free like 50% return on the capital he put to PayPal, which is interesting. So there's always opportunities everywhere. That happened this week. Ryan Cohen, went on a midstream to talk about GameStop buying eBay. Warren Buffett came on, I think CNBC probably, and he was saying how he was the one who initiated the Google investment, which is, in my opinion, not optimal. I think Google is great, but I just think they're too overvalued. I can see them retracing back to the high 2s or low 3s, which I think that's what they are right now. I don't keep track of Google, surprisingly. Yeah, low 3s, so I think 320. They had their fun. Am I a bit salty that I missed out on them at 160? Kind of. Well, yeah, I am. But other than that, their anti-gravity agent came out. That was pretty dope. That's one thing I give Google. Those guys are on one too, but a bit overvalued, and I don't think they have that much tangible value right now. Guys, other than that, I think we hit about everything. It's the weekend. The market is closed. Why the fuck are we talking about the market? Well, because I took a little break, but now I'm back. So, boys, go to the park. Go with a girl. I don't know. Or your boys. Go do something. Read a book. Don't. I study this for you. Go out. Go enjoy yourself. Go watch the new Minions movie. The Odyssey came out. Go talk. Text her. Whoever that her is, text her. Go jump off a cliff. Into water. Into water. Study. Read up. Oh fuck, the Middle East. Yeah. I don't know if I want to. Okay. Fuck. I kind of do owe you guys. All right. The Middle East. All right. It played out exactly how the fuck I told you guys it was going to play out. I was completely right. Like, guys, this memorandum of understanding made no fucking sense. I cannot stress this enough to you guys. Israel, along with the United States, cannot afford to have Iran. Objectively speaking. I'm not talking about the Torah, or I'm not talking about U.S. diplomacy in the Middle East. I'm not talking about Afghanistan. I'm talking about from an objective and a logical standpoint. Iran just simply cannot coexist with Israel. First and foremost, that is the stupidest fucking proposal. I actually think. Anyway. What happened? We are attacking each other. That's what I told you guys. We cannot end this war. We can't. And so when JD Vance just went on Joe Rogan, and he's talking so middle, he's not taking a stance. He's not taking a stance, and that's why his ass is going to be competing with Marco Rubio in the primary, and that's why Marco Rubio is trying to get a lot of money from a lot of certain individuals because JD Vance does not want to take a stance. I get that, but at the same time, dude. You playing in the middle is not going to have you memorize in anyone's head. All right? So, and the Democratic Party is doing exactly what they should do. Exploiting this moment. Why do you think they're running on anti-Israel, anti-this, anti-data centers? They're doing it right. The Democratic Party is doing exactly what they need to do, which is being them. And the Republican Party is in shambles because, not in shambles, sorry. But I'm talking really fast and exaggerating because I completely forgot about this. But this war cannot end. It simply is not a memorandum of understanding. And especially when the fact is that one of the axioms of the memorandum of understanding was to stop attacking Lebanon. That's not happening. That's just simply not happening. And, how Israel is treating Gaza and all that. Whole different video, whole different debate, whole different philosophical, ethical, and geopolitical arguments to be made. But from an objective standpoint, and that's what you're seeing in the market. Yes, some of the drawdown is from that, but at the same time, the market is pretty priced at. The market doesn't care. The market just doesn't care, and not it doesn't care, but it's just it's priced in. It's all priced in. So. Watch out for the Middle East because that's something that could escalate at any given moment. It kind of already has and it kind of already will, but I put it simple. I still stand by the thesis that I posted on YouTube too, by the way, that Iran just simply can't go away and rebuild. What do you think they're going to do? That's just stupid. That just can't happen. And first off, even if we wanted that to happen, Israel won't let that happen. And that's clearly evident in the way they've been attacking. I'm telling you objectively. I'm not telling you subjectively, no, I'm just telling you what's happening. I'm literally telling you what's happening. So I love Israel. I love the United States. I love Iran. I love everyone. I'm telling you this, guys, because from an analytical standpoint, you can't get caught up with I don't even want to talk about it because that's a whole different subject. This is a professional setting, but for the sake of things, objectively speaking, I've been vindicated and I've been right. And that is that this whole thing that we're going into peace, that this thing is some one-time mow your lawn and then pick up your fucking lawn service next month. That's just not what's happening. And someone's going to have to bend the knee. Is it Israel? Is it the U.S.? Or is it Iran? And my money has it on Iran. So, guys, the Middle East is very complicated. I kind of hate that I brought it up because I would love to have a 40-minute talk on just that subject in itself. But, however you feel about him, objectively speaking, one of the best geopolitical analysts is Nick Fuentes. He understands the Middle East very well. He understands the history, the policies involved, the parties involved, and everything in it. I highly advise you guys listen to his geopolitical stances, because he speaks from an objective standpoint 9 times out of 10, and that's very helpful for someone who wants unbiased and just straight up the truth. Again, I don't really care about how you feel about him. I don't care if you love him or hate him. I'm just telling you that the guy knows geopolitics, period. So, anyway, yeah. Have a great fucking weekend, boys. I think I'm back. I'm going to try to post at least 3 times this upcoming week. There's a lot going on, especially with the involvement and development of these models and everything in the war. And it's just one of the best times to be alive, boys. Like, no crying. Like, go all in. I don't know what you want to do. Go for a walk in the park. Go for a run. Go to sleep. Wake up. Get after it. Your boy's out.